Hi, it's Alex from laughingplace.com here today with a look at the new Aladdin toys from Hasbro. Now, they have the license for all of the Aladdin 12-inch doll characters. This is called the Agrabah Collection, and for those of you who've been paying attention, this is the one that Will Smith unveiled with the cast of the film. Now, this set contains some of the main characters. Obviously, we have Genie over here, played by Will Smith. Then we have a character that's new. She wasn't in the original animated feature, named Dalia. I believe she is close friends with Jasmine, maybe even a servant for her, but certainly some kind of a confidant. She's obviously big enough that they have made a doll of her. There is Jasmine, Aladdin in Prince Ali form, and then Jafar. Now, we're going to unbox all of these and take a look, but it's worth noting that this is not all of the dolls that Hasbro makes for Aladdin. They have two versions of Genie, one in his human form that looks more like Will Smith, and one in this blue computer animated form. There's two versions of Jasmine. This is her in her turquoise ensemble, which is iconic from the animated feature, but she also has some other looks in the film, so they have another character for her. There's also Aladdin in more of his street rat form. So this is the Agrabah Collection. Everyone's in more of their royal get-ups, Genie in his blue form, but there are other ones out there. These are all sold separately, but this Agrabah Collection retails for $99. We got ours from Hasbro Pulse. We bought our package, so this was not sent to us for review like some of the products that we have on here. This one was purchased by Laughing Place for the purpose of doing an authentic review on it, but these are popping up in stores now, and we'll put a link to Hasbro Pulse if you want to buy it directly from them. On the back, it does have some artwork of the actors in their roles. I'll hold it up a little bit closer. So we have Genie, Prince Ali, Jasmine, Dalia, and you'll notice for Dalia, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but the writing there has been stickered on as if they maybe made a mistake. We'll peel that off and see what's underneath. And then there's Jafar. Let's see what's under that sticker there. It's a little bit difficult to see, but the name is still Dalia. It's just spelled incorrectly. Underneath it spelled it with an H, and the sticker had it with no H. So that's the difference there. Now we're going to take them out of the box and take a closer look at each figure. And here they are. Now let's start with Genie. Genie's a little bit interesting. Now, obviously, they're all very stylized. It does kind of look like Will Smith, but you'll notice there's no soft goods on Genie. He's really more like a 12-inch action figure. In fact, I just unboxed a bunch of the Avengers Endgame Titan Effects heroes, the 12-inch action figures for that franchise, and he really reminds me of that, both in terms of like even the hard plastic that he's made out of. He's not made out of the soft plastic that the rest of the characters are, with the exception of his head, but even that is much firmer than a normal doll head. It's not very squishy. Now, his belt is softer and rubbery, so you could actually remove that. That and his necklace are the only two removable pieces. He does have tiny clear rubber bands on out of the box, keeping those in there. And then his arms bend just at the shoulder, his hips bend just at the waist. So that's about the full range of mobility with him. The nice thing is, unlike the others, because he is so solid, he stands on his own. All the others would require a doll stand to make them stand up. Next, we'll look at Prince Ali. And I want to start off by saying these are not really a collector doll. These are a playline piece. The packaging makes it a little bit more collectible, so if you are a Disney toy or doll collector, there's no reason why you couldn't sort of treat this as a collectible pack. But you'll notice in terms of detail, everything is printed on. None of this is textured. So this is really just a tunic that is printed with some what looks to be beading and gold lame, but it's really fairly simple. The turban does come off, and it is rubber banded on to help keep it on, but that is optional, so you could certainly remove his turban if you wanted to, and that's definitely a character story trait. He removes the turban and keeps his lamp up there. It's a shame they didn't hide a little lamp in there. That would have been a fun accessory. And then his boots here, they do have that really cool curly toe. They are ones that slip on and then clasp around in the back, so they're always a little bit open. That is fairly standard for a lot of dolls, so nothing necessarily wrong with that. Next, we'll look at Jasmine, and this is really cool. She is very glittery. She has this really neat cape. and it has this peacock design on it with a lot of glittery dust. Now the cape has two little slips where you can insert your hands, which I did. It doesn't fan out as far as I expected it to, but you can remove that pretty easily. It is kind of a rubber band piece that you would slide in there, so you can give her more of a wider range of motion. Now, unlike Aladdin and Genie, she is articulated at the wrists, at the elbows, at the arms, and with her legs, it's just at the hips. She's not articulated at the knees or the ankles. She does have some rather cool heeled sandals on, and I'm pretty impressed with her. I think so far of the three, I like her the best. She has her little tiara as well, and I think kids are really going to go gaga over her, not only as a character, but as a doll set too. So my understanding is, in addition to one of her other looks from the film, there might also be a singing doll of Jasmine. I believe I saw that online as well. Oh, Jafar's tipped over. Here is Dalia, and I don't know much of anything about the character, but she does have a much fuller hairdo. Forgot to mention with Jasmine's hair, it's reminiscent of the film, but it is more of a straight ponytail. It doesn't have the bunched pieces going down like it did in the animated film. The thing that initially caught me about Dalia is her sleeves, which are really cool. They do come down very wide. Now, the one thing that's weird is the way that they're angled. It doesn't quite flow like you would expect it to on a human, so that's kind of one of the missed opportunities here. But her dress, it's not glittery, but it's almost like luminescent. It has this really neat sheen to it, so that is really cool. I think kids are really going to like this doll, but again, I don't know much about the character, so I can't say anything about how well we'll connect with her. I didn't even notice her in the trailer, so she was a surprise to me in the doll set. And here is Jafar, and he has his scepter with the snake, and it does have a little handle here, and that slides pretty easily onto his hand, so you would put that in there. And his arm, like Aladdin, I think he's probably the same base, so he's just articulated at the hips and at the shoulders. He does have a rather cool cape, and it has this kind of almost fiery, almost snake-like design around the corner. This is a rubber piece that slides on, and then he's got his hat on as well that is removable, and then his shoes are very similar to Aladdin's. They're not as curved, but they are boots, and they do fit underneath his dress. So this is a one-piece robe underneath here. So he's got the cape, there's underneath his hat, and I'm excited about the film. Haven't seen much of it yet other than the trailer, but I love Aladdin, grew up on the original, the animated series, all of the sequels, all of the theme park properties that they've done with it, the parade, the flying carpets at Disney World, there was the show at California Adventure, so I am excited to see Walt Disney Studios take a live-action adaptation of Aladdin and see what comes out of that. Obviously, this is kind of an early look with these figures, which are out in stores now, even though the film doesn't come out for a little while. But sort of like with Beauty and the Beast, if this is going to be a big hit, a lot of the merchandise is going to fly off pretty fast. This obviously doesn't have any of the weird look that some of those toys did, which were, I think, by Mattel. So those ones tried to go for a more true-to-life look. We ended up getting the Justin Bieber, Emma Watson Belle doll. Because they've gone with a more stylized look, they're kind of meeting in the middle between the live-action characters and a cartoon variant of them. So kind of like what they've done with these. It's not a true-to-life doll, but it's more of an imaginative take on it. And I remember having tons of Aladdin toys as a kid. I had a Cave of Wonders playset. I remember they did a whole line of action figures. And so it captured my imagination as a kid. I liked to bring that into my playtime, and I craved that, and I think a lot of kids will. So if you have kids, if you're going to be going to see Aladdin in theaters, you might want to start picking up some of this right now. Each of these dolls usually ranges between $15 and $20 in retail price. So this set for $99 gets you 5 dolls, 5 of the main ones. There's, again, a human version of Genie, there's a street rat version of Aladdin, and there's a different look for Jasmine that you could pick up in stores. But this is a great way to start the collection, or at least give your kids at least one of each of these characters. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.